The air changes before you see the walls. It thickens, becomes warmer, carries the scent of stone that has been holding sunlight all day, and is now, slowly, releasing it back into the night. You are walking toward Rome, but Rome has already begun walking toward you, in temperature, in smell, in the way sound travels differently when vast structures interrupt the open sky. The moon is enough. It sits low and patient, casting everything in shades of silver and ash. The road beneath your feet is worn smooth by countless others, grooves pressed into the stone by wheels and sandals and time. You are not the first to approach after dark. You will not be the last. Ahead the city rises, not dramatically, not all at once. Rome does not announce itself with fanfare at this hour. Instead, it emerges gradually, a deepening of shadow against shadow, a thickening of darkness where walls interrupt starlight. The outer buildings are low and silent. No torches burn at their doorways. No voices carry from within. These are homes, workshops, storage halls, places where the day has already ended. You keep walking. The walls grow taller as you near them, great blocks of stone fitted together with such precision that even in darkness, even in moonlight, you can see how carefully they were placed. The heat they absorbed during the day radiates outward now, a gentle warmth against the cooling air. You could press your hand to the surface and feel it, the memory of sunlight held in rock. The gate stands open, not wide, not inviting, just open, the way a door left ajar suggests that someone expects you, or does not mind if you enter. There are no guards visible. Perhaps they are there, standing in alcoves or seated in shadow, but they do not call out, they do not question. Rome at night is quieter about who comes and goes. You step through. Inside, the streets are narrower than you expected. Stone walls rise on either side, close enough that you could touch both if you stretched your arms wide. The moon's light does not reach here easily. It filters down in thin slices, catching the edges of windowsills, the corners of doorways, the uneven surface of the paving stones beneath your feet. The city is not empty, but it is emptied. The difference matters. You can feel the absence of crowds the way you feel the absence of wind, not as silence, but as space where sound used to be. Somewhere distant, faint, you hear voices, not words, just the texture of conversation, softened by walls and distance, until it becomes part of the air itself. A shutter creaks. Somewhere above, wood shifting against wood, then settling again. Water moves. You cannot see it yet, but you hear it, a low, constant murmur, threading through the streets. Rome is full of water. It flows beneath, beside, through the city, in channels carved and built and maintained. Even now, after dark, it continues, patient, endless. You move deeper. The streets do not follow straight lines. They curve, intersect, split into narrower passages that rejoin themselves in unexpected places. There is no grid here, no order imposed from above. These are paths made by movement, by people choosing routes over years until those routes became permanent. The stones remember every footstep. A lantern glows in a distant window. Just one small point of light, barely strong enough to illuminate the space around it. Then another, farther down. Not a pattern, not decoration. Just light where someone still needs it, to finish a task, to find their way to bed, to sit awake a little longer before surrendering to sleep. The heat of the day still lingers in the stone walls, in the paving beneath your feet, but it is fading. The night is patient. It cools everything slowly. inevitably. By dawn, the streets will be cold. For now, they hover between warmth and its absence. You pass a doorway, then another. They are closed, but not locked. Rome does not seal itself completely at night. There is trust here, or necessity, or simply the understanding that walls are more symbolic than absolute. No one stops you. No one watches. Or if they do it quietly, from windows high above, uninterested in interfering. Cities change when no one is watching. They become something else. The buildings remain. The streets remain. But the meaning shifts. During the day, Rome is purpose and commerce, and voices layered upon voices. At night, it is stone and shadow, and the sound of water moving through darkness. You are here now, not to learn, not to conquer or understand or claim anything, just to move through, to be present in a place that continues whether you are here or not. The streets narrow further. You follow them anyway. The stone is cool now under your feet, not cold yet, but the warmth is leaving, pulled upward into the night sky, where heat dissipates and disappears. You walk slowly, because there is no reason to hurry. The streets will be here as long as you need them. They have been here longer than you can imagine, and they will remain long after you have gone. Your footsteps echo, not loudly, not sharply, just a soft repetition of sound. Step, then echo, then step again. The walls hold the sound and return it to you, slightly altered, slightly delayed. You are having a conversation with stone, though neither of you speaks. The streets were built for thousands. They were meant to hold crowds, merchants shouting, animals moving, carts rattling over uneven ground, voices rising and falling in argument or laughter or negotiation. But those thousands are gone now, sleeping, or somewhere else, or simply absent. The streets remain the same width, the same shape, but they feel different when only one person walks through them. You pass a corner where two streets meet, the intersections unmarked. No signs, no indicators. Rome does not label itself for strangers. You either know where you are, or you discover it by moving. A cat crosses ahead of you, silent, unbothered. It pauses in the center of the street, looks at you without interest, then continues into shadow. Animals own the night differently than people do. They do not need permission. They do not question their right to be here. The lantern light is sparse. When it appears, it comes from windows set high in the walls, small openings, shuttered or open, glowing faintly with the warm orange of oil flame. The light does not reach the street. It stays contained, private, illuminating only the small space it was meant for. You walk beneath these windows and remain in darkness. The air carries smells, smoke from fires burning low, olive oil, wool, stone dust, the faint, ever-present scent of water. Nothing strong, nothing overwhelming, just the accumulated presence of a city at rest. You turn down a narrower passage. Here, the walls are so close that the moon cannot enter at all. You move through darkness, guided only by the feel of stone beneath your feet, the slight variations in texture that tell you where the path continues. Your hand brushes the wall, rough, warm, textured with age. Somewhere, a shutter closes. The soft thud of wood meeting wood, then nothing. The streets loop and return and split again. You could try to map them, to understand their logic, but there is no logic, or rather, there is a logic so old and layered that it no longer resembles intention. These are paths made by necessity, worn into permanence by repetition. A doorway stands open, not wide, just enough that you can see inside, a courtyard, dim and empty, with a fountain at its center. The water catches moonlight and holds it. You could enter. No one would stop you, but you keep walking. The sound of your footsteps changes depending on the street. On wider paths, they spread and fade quickly. In narrow passages, they compress and return to you, doubled, tripled, as if other invisible feet are walking beside you. You pass a tavern, closed now. Its shutters are latched. No light shows through the cracks. But the smell of wine lingers near the door, sweet, sour, mixed with bread and oil, and the residue of voices that filled the space hours ago. The streets remember everything, every conversation, every argument, every sale and greeting and farewell. The stones hold the vibrations of all that sound, absorbing it the way they absorb heat, releasing it slowly into the night when no one is there to hear. You reach a small plaza, not a forum, not a public space meant for gathering, just widening where several streets meet, a pocket of openness between buildings. The moon fills it completely. For a moment, you stand in silver light, and the shadows retreat to the edges. Then you continue. The streets pull you deeper, not forcefully, not deliberately, but they offer paths, and you take them, and each path leads to another. Rome is not a place you navigate. It is a place you move through until you find yourself somewhere you did not expect. A window above you glows, then darkens. Someone extinguishing a lamp before sleep. The small rituals of ending a day. The stone walls on either side hold centuries. You cannot see them, but you can feel them. Layers upon layers, built and rebuilt, repaired and replaced, each generation adding to what came before. The walls are not single things. They are accumulations. Your pace slows. There is no destination, no place you need to reach. The walking itself is enough. The streets narrow again, then widen, then narrow. The rhythm becomes familiar. You stop trying to remember where you have been. It does not matter. Rome will guide you, or it will not, and either way, you will end up somewhere. A dog barks once, far away. The sound carries through the streets, bouncing off walls, shifting direction, until you cannot tell where it came from. Then silence returns. The night is patient with you. It does not rush you forward or push you back. It simply holds you, the way the streets hold your footsteps, the way the stone holds the fading warmth of the day. You are here. The city continues. Nothing more needs to happen. The streets open. You do not see it coming. One moment you are walking between walls, enclosed and guided, and the next the space expands outward and upward, and you are standing at the edge of something vast, the Forum. But not the Forum as it exists in daylight, not the Forum of voices and movement and purpose. This is the Forum after everyone has left, after the crowds have dispersed and the business has ended, and the reasons for gathering have dissolved back into private lives. The open space feels enormous in the dark. During the day, bodies fill it, thousands of them, moving and standing and clustering in groups. Their presence gives the space dimension, breaks it into manageable pieces. But now empty, the Forum stretches farther than you can see clearly. Moonlight falls across it in uneven sheets, illuminating sections while leaving others in shadow. Columns rise around the perimeter, tall, white, or perhaps gray in this light. They stand at regular intervals, holding nothing. Once they held roofs, or they marked boundaries, or they simply existed as statements of permanence. Now they stand because they have not yet fallen. The moon passes behind one, then merges on the other side. The column does not notice. You step forward onto the flat stone. Your footsteps sound different here, smaller. The echo does not return the way it does in the narrow streets. Instead, the sound travels outward and keeps going, absorbed by distance and open air. You could shout, and perhaps the stone would hold it, but you do not shout. This is not a place for testing what sound can do. There are platforms here, stone surfaces raised above the ground, meant for standing, for speaking, for being seen. They are empty now. The height remains, but without a body standing on them. They are just stone, at a different level. Purpose exists only when people bring it. You walk toward the center. The stone beneath your feet is worn smooth, not by weather, by footsteps, thousands, millions, over years beyond counting. Every surface here has been touched, walked upon, leaned against, until the original texture has been softened into something else. The Forum is not ancient because it is old. It is ancient because it has been used. A bird calls somewhere above, not a song, just a single note, brief and without answer. Then nothing. The buildings that surround the Forum stand like watchers. Their facades face inward, windows dark, doorways closed. During the day, these buildings have names and functions. At night, they are simply walls with openings. The moon reflects off their surfaces. Marble, limestone, whatever stone was chosen for grandeur, it all looks the same now. You pause near one of the platforms. If you stood on it, you would be higher than the ground. You would have elevation, but there is no one to see you, and elevation without an audience is just distance from the earth. You stay where you are. The air is still here. No wind moves through the open space. Perhaps the buildings block it, or perhaps the night itself is simply calm. Either way, the stillness is complete. You can hear your own breathing. You can hear the faint rustle of fabric as you move. Power only exists when people gather. These stones were meant to hold authority. Decisions were made here. Declarations announced. Disputes settled. But all of that required bodies and voices, required belief that this space meant something more than other spaces. Now, with everyone gone, the stones cannot hold anything except moonlight and shadow. You walk past a statue. It stands on a pedestal, taller than you, carved into the shape of a figure you do not recognize. The details are lost in darkness. You can see the outline, a body, an arm raised, drapery carved into the stone. But who it represents, what it commemorates, these things are invisible now. The statue remains, but its meaning has gone to sleep. The columns cast long shadows across the ground. Each one reaches halfway across the Forum, thin and precise, cutting the moonlight into sections. You walk through these shadows and feel nothing. They are only the absence of light. They cannot touch you. There are benches here, stone seats built into the base of walls, meant for resting, for waiting, for watching. You sit on one. The stone is cool, almost cold now. The warmth has fully left. You can feel it through your clothing against your legs, a slow seeping chill that is not unpleasant, just present. From here, you can see the entire Forum, or most of it. The edges blur into darkness where the moonlight does not reach, but the center is clear, flat stone, empty space, columns standing without purpose. Places meant for noise, now holding only air. You remain seated. There is no reason to stand, no reason to move. The forum will be here whether you are in it or not. It has outlasted everyone who ever gathered here. It will outlast you. The moon shifts slightly. The shadows move with it, rotating slowly across the ground like the hands of some enormous, patient clock. Time is visible here in a way it is not elsewhere. You can watch it pass by, watching the light change, stone listening to itself. That is what this feels like. The columns, the platforms, the paving stones beneath your feet, all of it built to hold human activity, now left alone to simply exist. And in existing without purpose, it becomes something quieter. Something that does not need to mean anything. You stand eventually, not because you have rested enough, but because staying still for too long makes you aware of the cold. You begin walking again, crossing the forum at an angle, heading toward the far side where the streets resume. Before you leave the open space, you look back. The forum remains exactly as it was. Your presence changed nothing. Your absence will change nothing. It is simply here, night after night, empty and full of memory that has no one to remember it. The streets receive you again. Narrow walls, enclosed space. The forum disappears behind you, swallowed by buildings. You do not look back again. The sound of water grows louder. Not suddenly, not all at once, but gradually, as you walk. The soft murmur you have been hearing since you entered the city becomes clearer, more distinct. It is no longer background, it is presence. You turn down a street, and the air changes, becomes heavier, warmer, carries moisture that settles on your skin like breath. The bathhouse. You can see it ahead. A large, low building with steam rising from vents in its roof, thin wisps of white vapor glowing faintly in the moonlight, drifting upward and dissolving into the night sky. The building is closed now. The doors are shut. No voices echo from within. But the heat remains. You move closer. The walls radiate warmth. You can feel it from several feet away. A gentle wall of heat pushing back against the cool night air. These stones absorbed fire all day, furnaces burning beneath the floors, heating water, heating air, keeping the baths at temperatures meant for bodies to sink into and surrender. Now, hours after the fires have been banked, the heat is leaving. Slowly, the stone releases it, the way lungs release breath. Steady, inevitable. By morning, the walls will be cool, but not yet. You place your hand against the exterior wall, warm, almost hot. The stone is rough under your palm, textured with age and wear, but the heat is smooth, even, radiating through the surface without variation. You keep your hand there for a moment, feeling the warmth travel into your skin. Then you let it fall away. The sound of water is clearer here. It comes from inside the building, dripping, pooling, the faint echo of drops falling into larger bodies of water. The baths are still full. The water does not leave when people do. It remains, cooling gradually, waiting for morning when the fires will be lit again and the cycle will resume. You walk around the perimeter of the building. There are small openings near the ground, vents for air, for steam to escape, for heat to circulate. You crouch near one and feel the warmth pouring out. It carries the scent of wet stone, of minerals, of bodies that were here hours ago, not unpleasant, just human. The accumulated presence of people who came to wash, to soak, to sit in hot water, and let the day dissolve. Inside, you imagine the pools, large basins carved into stone or built with tile, filled with water that is no longer steaming but still warm. The surface would be perfectly still now, no one entering, no one disturbing it. Just water sitting in darkness, holding heat, waiting. The cold pool would be the same, still, silent, but cold, fed by channels that bring water from outside the city, from sources that never warm. During the day, bodies move between hot and cold, shocking the skin, waking the blood. Now, both pools simply exist side by side, each at its own temperature, undisturbed. You move to the side of the building where a small channel runs. Water flows here constantly, even at night. It enters the bathhouse through carefully constructed channels, stone-lined and sloped just enough that gravity keeps it moving. The water is clear in the moonlight, reflecting silver as it slides past. You can hear it, not a rush, not a torrent, just a steady, quiet flow. You kneel beside the channel. The water is cold. You dip your fingers in and feel it move around them, pulling gently, tugging at your skin as it passes. The cold is sharp, clean, the kind that wakes you immediately. You lift your hand and let the water drip from your fingers back into the channel. It rejoins the flow without hesitation. This water has traveled far to reach here, from mountains, from springs, from sources outside the city. It moves through aqueducts, across valleys, through tunnels, always downhill, always flowing. It does not stop for night. It does not rest. Rome's water is constant. You stand and continue walking. There are other bathhouses in the city, smaller ones, private ones. But the routine is the same. Heat, water, the slow accumulation of steam and warmth and bodies moving through cycles of cleaning and soaking and cooling. This is how Rome maintains itself. Not through spectacle, not through monuments, through daily repetition, through water and heat and the small rituals of care. You pass a fountain. It stands at an intersection, a simple stone basin with water flowing from a carved spout. The water falls into the basin with a gentle, regular splash, then drains away through holes at the base, continuing its journey to wherever the city's water goes. The fountain is not decorative. It is functional. People fill containers here during the day, drink from it, wash their hands. At night, it simply continues, offering water to anyone who needs it, though no one is here to take it. You cup your hands under the flow. The water is cold, clean, tasteless. You drink. It fills your mouth, your throat, simple and necessary. You drink again, then step back. The fountain continues as if you were never there. The streets here are different, cleaner. The stone is washed regularly by overflow, by splashing, by the constant presence of water. There is no dust, no accumulation of debris, just wet stone, slightly slick, reflecting moonlight in scattered patterns. You hear dripping. Somewhere nearby, water is escaping. From a crack, a loose joint, a pipe that was not sealed completely. The drops fall steadily, hitting stone with a soft, rhythmic tap. No one will repair it tonight. Perhaps no one will repair it at all. Rome is full of small leaks, small losses, water finding its own path. You follow the sound and find it. A thin stream running down the side of a wall, darkening the stone, pooling at the base before draining into a crack. You watch it for a moment. The water does not hesitate. It moves because it must, because gravity pulls it, because that is what water does. Routine holds Rome together, not law. not force, routine, the daily lighting of fires, the daily filling of baths, the daily movement of water through channels and pipes and fountains. People come, use what is offered, and leave. The systems continue. You move away from the bathhouse. The warmth fades behind you. The air cools again, but you can still hear water, always somewhere, moving through the city, beneath streets, behind walls, in channels you cannot see. Rome's built on water as much as it is built on stone. You walk slowly. There is no hurry. The night is long, and the city does not change quickly. The streets widen as you walk, and the buildings begin to pull back, creating space. You sense it before you see it, a largeness ahead, a structure so vast that it interrupts the sky. The Colosseum. It rises out of the darkness like a sleeping giant. Curved walls, arches stacked upon arches, stone shaped into something that seems too large to be real, and yet here it is, solid and still under the moon. You approach slowly. During the day, this place holds noise. Not now, not in memory or echo, because this is not about what happened here. This is about what remains when the purpose is gone. A building, stone and space, nothing more. The outer wall curves away from you in both directions. You cannot see where it ends. The arches are dark, open mouths that lead into shadow. Some are blocked with gates. Others stand open, passages into the interior. You choose one and step through. The corridor is cool. The stone walls rise on either side, and above, the arch curves over your head. Your footsteps sound softer here, absorbed by the thickness of the walls. You are inside something now, enclosed by structure. You move forward, and the corridor begins to slope upward, gently, just enough that you feel it in your legs. The stone beneath your feet is worn smooth by countless others who walked this same path. You are following their steps without knowing who they were. The corridor opens. You step out into the seating area, and the space expands so suddenly that you stop. Rows and rows of stone seats, curving upward and away, forming a vast bowl that holds nothing but air. The moon fills the center, illuminating the arena floor far below, flat, pale, empty. You sit on one of the stone seats, cold, hard, unforgiving, but that is what stone is. You lean back slightly, and the seat behind you presses into your shoulders. These seats were built for thousands, row after row after row, each one offering a view of the center. But now in darkness, with no one here, they are just stone cut into shapes for sitting. The arena floor is far below, a long drop. You can see the oval shape of it, the flatness, the way the moonlight catches the sand. During the day, this space would be bright, exposed. Now it is simply there, a floor, a surface, waiting. Wind moves through the Colosseum, not strongly. Just a breeze, threading through the arches, moving across the open top, stirring the air without disturbing anything. You can hear it, a low, constant whisper, the sound of air finding its way through stone. You look up. The walls rise high, tier after tier of arches and columns and seating. At the very top, the structure opens to the sky. Stars are visible through the opening, scattered and faint. The Colosseum does not have a roof. The sky is its ceiling. Weather moves through it freely. Rain, sun, wind. The stone accepts all of it. You stand and begin climbing, row after row, step after step. The seats are uneven, some higher than others, worn differently by use and time. You climb slowly, pausing occasionally to look down at the arena floor. It grows smaller as you rise, more distant, less immediate. At the top, you stop. From here, you can see the entire structure, the oval of seats curving around the central floor, the tiers descending like terraced hillsides, the arches forming patterns of light and shadow around the perimeter. The Colosseum is geometry, curves and circles in perfect repetition, but it is also just a building, stone placed on top of stone, fitted and mortared and shaped into something functional. It served a purpose once. Now it serves a different purpose. It stands. It exists. It holds space. You sit again, this time at the highest point. The stone is colder here, more exposed to the air. The wind is stronger. It moves past you without pause, indifferent to your presence. The arena floor is very far below now. You could drop something and watch it fall, and it would take time to reach the bottom, but you have nothing to drop, and there is no reason to test distance. The seats around you are empty, all of them, thousands of seats, and not a single body. The absence is not sad. It is simply what night brings. People leave. Buildings remain. The moon passes behind a cloud, and the Colosseum darkens. For a moment you sit in near complete shadow. The shapes around you become vague, uncertain. Then the moon emerges again, and everything returns. Stone arches, the oval floor below. Even the loudest places fall silent. That is what this is. A place built for sound, for voices raised, for reactions, for the collective noise of thousands gathered in one space. But sound does not stay. It happens, and then it is gone. The stone remembers nothing. It only holds shape. You descend slowly, taking a different path than the one you climbed. The rows of seats pass by, one after another, unchanging. Your legs find the rhythm of stepping down, and you let them carry you without thought. At the bottom, you cross the arena floor. The sand shifts slightly under your feet, softer than stone, quieter. You walk toward the center, and the walls of the Colosseum rise around you in all directions. From here, looking up, the structure seems infinite. Rows upon rows climbing toward the sky, arches layered on arches, stone curving overhead. You are very small here, not insignificant, just small, a single body in a space meant for thousands. The scale is honest. It does not diminish you. It simply shows proportion. You reach the center and stop. The sand is pale in the moonlight, almost white. You kneel and let it run through your fingers. Fine, dry. It falls back to the ground without sound. Above, the sky is framed by the opening at the top of the Colosseum, a perfect oval of stars and darkness. You lie back on the sand and look up. The stone walls surround you, but the sky is open, endless. You breathe slowly. The sand is cool beneath you. The air is still. The Colosseum holds you, the way it holds everything, without effort, without intention, just structure, just space. You close your eyes for a moment. The wind moves past. The stone stands. The night continues. When you open your eyes again, nothing has changed. The stars are still there. The walls are still there. You are still here. Eventually, you stand. Brush the sand from your clothes. Walk toward one of the exits. The corridor receives you, dark and cool, and you follow it back out into the streets. The Colosseum remains behind you, silent, empty, waiting for nothing. The streets narrow again as you move away from the Colosseum. The scale shifts back to something more familiar. Walls close enough to touch, doorways at eye level, the intimate geometry of spaces built for living. You are in a residential quarter now. The buildings here are different, smaller, stacked upon each other in ways that seem precarious, but have held for years. 3 stories, 4 stories, rising above the street, with balconies jutting out, laundry lines strung between windows, shutters closed against the night. These are not monuments. These are homes. The stone is plainer here, less polished, brick mixed with concrete, surfaces that were never meant to impress, only to shelter. The walls are patched in places, repaired with whatever material was available, creating a patchwork of textures and colors that are all the same gray in moonlight. A window glows above you, orange, the light of a single lamp or candle burning in a room you cannot see. You stop and look up. The light does not move. No shadow passes across it. Just the steady glow of flame behind shutters that are cracked open, letting a thin line of warmth escape into the night. Someone is still awake, finishing something, or unable to sleep, or simply sitting with the light because darkness feels too complete. You will never know which. The window offers no answers, only the fact of its glow. You continue walking. More windows. Most are dark, shutters closed, latched from the inside, sealing in whatever warmth the day's fires created. But here and there light shows through cracks, or a shutter stands slightly open, and you glimpse the interior of lives you are not part of. A family sleeps somewhere behind these walls. Children curled into bedding, parents breathing slowly, deeply, the rhythm of rest. Grandparents perhaps in corners of rooms wrapped in blankets. Bodies trusting that morning will come, that the night is safe enough to surrender to. You cannot see them, but you can feel their presence. The city is full of sleeping people. Thousands of them, layered in buildings, stacked in rooms, each one dreaming or not dreaming, each one somewhere in the territory between waking and whatever comes after. The streets here are quieter than anywhere else you have walked. No fountains, no flowing water. Just the occasional drip from a roof, the soft creak of a shutter moving in the breeze, the distant sound of something settling, wood, stone, the materials of a building, adjusting to the cool of night. You pass a doorway. It stands open just enough that you can see inside. A narrow hallway, stairs leading up into darkness. The opening is not an invitation. More likely, someone forgot to close it completely, or the latch is broken, or it simply does not matter. You do not enter. You keep walking. A cat sits on a windowsill above you. Its eyes catch the moonlight and reflect it back. 2 small points of green gold light watching you pass. It does not move, does not react. Just watches, the way cats watch, without judgment or interest. The smell of smoke is everywhere here. Not fresh smoke, not the sharp scent of burning wood. This is older smoke, absorbed into fabric and plaster and stone, the residue of countless fires lit for cooking, for warmth, for light. Rome smells like smoke the way it smells like stone, permanent. Woven into the fabric of the city, you turn down a side street so narrow that the buildings on either side nearly touch overhead. The moon cannot reach here at all. You move through complete darkness, guided only by the feel of walls on either side, the slight echo of your footsteps telling you the space is enclosed. A baby cries somewhere above, brief, sharp, then stops. A voice murmurs, too soft to make out words, just the tone of soothing. The baby does not cry again. The voice continues for a moment, then fades into silence. Life continues here. Not grand life, not the life of forums and monuments and public spaces. This is the life of waking in the night, of feeding children, of tending fires that have burned too low, of lying awake for reasons that do not need to be explained. You emerge from the narrow street into a small courtyard, shared space. Several buildings open onto it, their doorways dark, their windows shuttered. In the center, a small well. You can see the stone rim, the bucket sitting beside it, the rope coiled neatly. During the day, people come here for water. At night, the well simply waits. You sit on the edge of the well. The stone is cold, rough. You can feel the texture through your clothing. Above, the buildings frame a small square of sky. A few stars are visible, not many. Just enough to remind you that the sky continues above the rooftops. The silence here is different. In the Forum, silence was the absence of crowds. In the Colosseum, it was the absence of spectacle. Here, silence is the presence of sleep. The quiet is full of breathing, of bodies at rest, of lives paused until morning. You close your eyes and listen. A shutter creaks. A dog shifts in sleep somewhere, its paws scraping against stone. The buildings themselves make sounds, small ones, barely audible. The settling of weight, the contraction of materials, cooling, the whisper of air moving through cracks. Rome exists because people rest, not because they conquer or build or gather. Those things happen because rest happens first, because bodies need to stop to lie down, to close their eyes and trust that the world will still be here when they open them again. The window above you, the one that was glowing, goes dark. Someone has extinguished their lamp, decided that whatever kept them awake can wait until morning, or does not matter, or simply cannot be solved tonight. You stand. The courtyard releases you without ceremony. You find a doorway leading back to the streets and follow it. The residential quarter continues, block after block of buildings, each one full of sleeping lives. You walk past them slowly, aware that you are moving through a city of dreams. Whatever people are seeing behind their closed eyes, whatever worlds they are inhabiting while their bodies rest, all of that is happening now, simultaneously, in rooms you are passing. A fire glows in a window, just embers now, the last remnants of heat before the fire dies completely, orange coals shifting slightly as air moves through them. By morning, they will be ash. For now, they still hold light. You think about the routine of it. Every night, fires are lit. Every night, they burn low. Every night, they go out. And every morning, they are lit again. This cycle repeats endlessly, in every home, in every building. Rome is sustained by repetition. The street slopes downward. You follow it, your footsteps finding the rhythm of descent. The buildings remain the same, residential, layered, full of sleeping people. But gradually, they begin to thin. The spaces between them widen. You are moving toward the edge of this quarter. One last window glows. You stop beneath it. The light is very faint, barely stronger than moonlight. You can see the edge of a room, a wall, a corner, the suggestion of furniture. Nothing else. Just the smallest glimpse of a private space. You do not linger. The window is not for you. It is for whoever is inside, still awake, still holding back the darkness for a few more moments. The streets pull you forward, away from the homes, away from the sleeping families, back toward the larger arteries of the city, where stone is public again. where space is not measured by the size of rooms, but by the width of thoroughfares. Behind you, the residential quarter settles deeper into night. The last lights will go out soon. The fires will become ash. The breathing will continue, steady and slow, until morning comes and the city wakes. But that is not yet, for now sleep holds Rome as surely as stone does. You are walking, but you have stopped tracking direction. The streets curve and split and rejoin, and you follow them without trying to understand their pattern. Rome is not a city that reveals itself through logic. It reveals itself through movement, through being present, as one moment becomes another. The stone beneath your feet is ancient. Not in the way monuments are ancient, labeled, preserved, explained. Ancient in the way that something becomes when it has been touched by countless people over time, so long that individual years stop mattering. You kneel and place your hand on the paving stones. Smooth, worn, the surface is no longer what it was when first cut and placed. Weather has moved across it. Rain, sun, wind, snow. Feet have pressed into it. Sandals, bare soles, hooves, wheels. Each contact so small as to be invisible, but together, accumulated over time, they have changed the stone's face. The edges of the stones are rounded. Where once there were sharp corners, now there are gentle curves. The gaps between stones have widened in some places, narrowed in others, filled with dust and sand and organic matter that has compressed into something almost like mortar. Time does not hurry here. You can see it in the walls around you. Surfaces that were once smooth now hold textures, pitting from rain, darkening from smoke, staining from minerals in water that has run down them for years. The stone accepts all of this without resistance. You stand and continue walking. A building to your right shows layers. The lower portion is older, the stone more weathered, the surface more irregular. Above it, newer construction. Stone that is lighter in color, less worn, fitted into place to repair or extend what was already there. And above that, even newer work, recognizable by its sharper edges, its cleaner lines. The building has been rebuilt, not all at once, not torn down and started fresh. Just added to, patched, extended, each generation making their contribution, leaving their layer. The building is not one thing. It is an accumulation of moments stretched across time. You touch the wall where old stone meets new. The seam is visible even in moonlight, a line where different ages of stone come together. The older stone is rough, porous, textured by decades or centuries of exposure. The newer stone is smoother, denser, still holding its original surface. But both are stone, both age. The new will become old. The old will become older. Eventually, the difference will soften, and they will look the same. Nothing is erased, only softened. That is what time does in Rome. It does not destroy. It does not remove. It layers. It smooths. It blurs the boundaries between what was and what is. The city holds everything that has happened to it, not as memory, but as physical presence worn into surfaces. You pass a fountain that is no longer a fountain. The basin remains carved from a single piece of stone, but the water has stopped flowing. The spout is dry. The channels that once fed it are blocked or broken or rerouted. But the basin itself is still here, repurposed now as a planter. Soil fills the bottom. Plants grow from it, small, hardy things that need little water. The fountain has become something else. Not suddenly, not deliberately, ju- just gradually, as the city's needs changed and the water went elsewhere, and someone decided that plants would grow well in a stone basin that no longer held water. You continue walking, and the streets themselves show their age. Some stones sit lower than others, pressed down by weight and time. Some have cracked, thin fissures running through them like veins. The cracks are filled with dirt, with growth, with the debris of the city, settling into available space. You reach a section of wall that is falling, not collapsed, falling. Process is slow, visible only if you look closely. Stones at the top have shifted slightly, pulling away from the mortar that held them. In a year, or 10 years, or 100, they will fall completely, but for now, they balance, holding their position through habit and gravity. No one has repaired this wall. Perhaps because it does not matter. Perhaps because there are too many walls, and they cannot all be maintained. Perhaps because Rome understands that some things are allowed to fall. The wall will become rubble. The rubble will be cleared over or incorporated into something new. The stone will continue, just in a different form. You think about the layers beneath your feet. The streets you are walking on are not the original ground. Beneath these paving stones are older streets, buried by time and construction. And beneath those, older still, Rome is built on top of itself, each era adding height, raising the city slowly skyward. If you could dig down, you would find versions of Rome that no longer exist at their original level, doorways that are now below ground, windows that open into earth, entire buildings swallowed by the accumulation of time, but they are still there, not gone, just covered, waiting. You pass a column that stands alone, no building around it, no roof above it, just a single column rising from the street, carved and fluted, and topped with a capital that supports nothing. Perhaps it once held up a portico. Perhaps the building around it fell, or was demolished, or simply decayed, until only this column remained. It stands because it has not yet fallen. That is the only reason it needs. The moon is lower now, its angle changing, and the shadows shift accordingly. What was illuminated becomes dark. What was dark catches light. The city transforms without moving. You run your hand along a stone wall as you walk, feeling the texture change as you move. Smooth, then rough, then pitted, then smooth again. Each section of wall has its own history of weather and repair and neglect. You are reading that history through touch. A plant grows from a crack in the wall above your head. You stop to look at it. Small, green even in moonlight. Its roots have found a way into the mortar, into whatever soil has accumulated in the crack. It grows slowly, patiently, breaking the stone apart one microscopic fraction at a time. In 100 years, this crack will be wider. In 200, the stone might fall. The plant does not know this. It simply grows because that is what plants do. Time is patient with Rome. Does not need the city to fall quickly. It can wait. Stone is strong, but time is stronger. Not through force, through persistence. You reach a plaza where several streets converge. In the center, a pedestal stands empty. Whatever statue or monument it once held is gone. Only the base remains, carved with inscriptions you cannot read in the darkness. The letters are worn, smoothed by weather, some of them missing entirely where the stone has flaked away. The pedestal does not mourn its loss. It simply exists, holding space, marking a point in the city where something once stood. You sit on the pedestal. The stone is cold, deeply cold, as if it has been saving all the night's chill just for this moment. You sit anyway. From here, you can see the streets radiating outward in multiple directions, each one leading somewhere you have not been. Rome is layered in time, the way it is layered in stone. Every surface holds multiple eras. Every building is a composite of moments. Walking through the city is walking through centuries, though all of it exists simultaneously, pressed into the present. You stand and choose a street at random. It curves away into darkness, and you follow it. The buildings here are older. You can tell not by any specific feature, but by the accumulated weight of age they carry. The stone is darker, more weathered. The doorways are smaller, built for different proportions. The windows are narrow, defensive, but life continues in them. Shutters are closed. Smoke rises from chimneys. The old buildings hold new lives, and those lives will become old, and new lives will replace them, and the buildings will continue. Time softens the stone, but it does not erase it. Rome remains. Changed, worn, layered, but here. You walk slowly, aware that every step is over history you cannot see, through space that has been crossed by others beyond counting. The stones hold all of it, not as memory, as presence. The street narrows, and the moon disappears behind buildings. You move through shadow, guided by the feel of stone, the sound of your footsteps, the knowledge that the street will lead somewhere, because streets always do. Nothing hurries you. Nothing pulls you forward or holds you back. You are simply here, moving through time, made visible in stone. You no longer know which part of the city you are in. The streets have looped back on themselves, curved away, split and rejoined so many times that any sense of direction has dissolved. You could be near where you started. You could be far from it. The stone walls around you look the same as stone walls elsewhere. The moonlight falls the same way. It does not matter. You are not trying to reach anywhere. You are simply walking, and Rome accepts this. The city has no opinion about purpose. It offers streets, and you take them. You turn left because the street turns left. You continue straight because straight is what the path allows. When a choice appears, two streets diverging, you choose without thinking, and the street you did not take ceases to exist for you. The walking itself becomes rhythmic. Step, step, step. The sound of your feet on stone. The slight variations in surface. Smooth here, rougher there. A gap between stones that your foot finds and adjusts for. Your body learns the rhythm and carries it without thought. You pass landmarks you might have passed before. A fountain, a statue, a doorway with a distinctive arch. But you cannot be certain. Rome repeats itself. Forms recur. What seems familiar might be new. What seems new might be the same thing seen from a different angle. The moon is your only constant. It moves slowly across the sky, changing position, but it remains visible whenever the buildings open enough to reveal it. You use it without thinking, a reference point, a steady presence overhead. The streets narrow, then widen, then narrow again. You move through these changes without reaction. Narrow streets feel close, protective. Wide streets feel exposed, open. Both are simply conditions of space. You reach a bridge, small, arched, crossing over a channel where water flows beneath. You can hear it, the soft rush of water moving through stone-lined banks, constant and indifferent. You stop in the middle of the bridge and look down. The water is dark. You cannot see through it. Just the surface, reflecting scattered moonlight, moving steadily in one direction. The water does not come from here. It is passing through, on its way to somewhere else, just as you are. You continue across the bridge. The street on the other side looks the same as the street you left behind. Same stone, same walls, same shuttered windows. But it is a different street because you crossed water to reach it. The distinction matters to you for a moment, then it stops mattering. You walk past the building with columns. They line the front, evenly spaced, supporting a facade that is dark and silent. You do not know what the building is for. You do not need to know. It is simply a building with columns, another structure in a city of structures. Your legs carry you without effort. The rhythm of walking has become so automatic that you are barely aware of the movement. Your mind wanders, not toward thoughts, exactly, more toward a state of awareness that is diffuse, unfocused, present but not attached to anything specific. This is what walking without direction creates, a loosening, a gentle dissolution of intention. You turn down a street you are certain you have not seen before, or perhaps you have. The uncertainty is not uncomfortable. It is simply true. Rome is large enough to hold repetition and novelty simultaneously. A dog appears ahead of you. It walks slowly across the street, nose to the ground, following a scent you cannot perceive. It does not look at you, does not acknowledge your presence. It is intent on its own purpose, whatever that might be. You watch it disappear into shadow. The street is empty again. The silence here is complete. No water sounds, no distant voices, no shutters creaking, just a stone in the air and the moonlight. You exist inside this silence, and it exists around you, and neither of you disturbs the other. You keep walking. The streets begin to feel less like paths and more like currents. You are being carried along, not by force, but by the subtle pull of available direction. Left here because right is blocked. Straight here because the street continues. Down this slope because going up requires effort you do not want to expend. You are drifting through Rome, the way water drifts through channels, taking the path of least resistance, following gravity and opportunity. The buildings around you blur slightly, not visually. They remain clear, distinct, but mentally they become less individual, more part of a continuous surface. Stone walls, doorways, windows. The elements repeat until they become texture rather than objects. You pass another intersection. This one offers 4 choices. You take the street that curves simply because curves interest you more than straight lines in this moment. The curve reveals another street, and you follow it. The curve reveals another, and you follow that. You are inside a spiral, or a labyrinth, or simply the organic logic of a city that was not planned from above. You do not feel lost. Lost implies wanting to be found, wanting to return to somewhere known. You have no such desire. You are exactly where you are, and that is enough. A breeze moves through the street, cool, carrying no scent, just air that has been elsewhere and is now here, passing through on its way to somewhere else, like you, like the water, like everything that moves through Rome without remaining. Your pace slows, not deliberately, just gradually. The walking becomes dreamlike. Each step takes longer, not because you are tired, but because time itself seems to be softening, stretching, becoming less definite. You stop and stand still for a moment. The city continues around you. The moon continues across the sky. The stone continues being stone. Nothing waits for you. Nothing needs you to move. You move anyway, eventually. Not because you must, but because standing still for too long makes you aware of the cold, and moving generates warmth. The streets receive you again. They do not care that you stopped. They do not care that you are moving again. They simply exist, available, offering direction without insisting on it. You are very deep in Rome now, not deep in the sense of distance, deep in the sense of immersion. The city has surrounded you so completely that you have forgotten there is anything outside it. The walls are the world. The stone is the ground. The moon is the only sky that matters. You walk, and the walking is everything. No past, no future, just this step, and then the next, and then the next. The streets curve. You curve with them. The streets narrow. You pass through narrowness. The streets widen. You expand into the available space. You are not separate from Rome. You are part of its movement, part of its night, part of the slow drift of presence through stone and shadow. Somewhere ahead, a street awaits. You will reach it. You will follow it. It will lead to another street, and another, and another. There is no end to this, no conclusion, just continuation. You walk without direction, and direction ceases to matter. You are here. The city is here. The night holds both of you. That is enough. The streets have grown quieter still, not because sound has left, but because you have moved deeper into a kind of silence that exists beneath sound. The ambient noise of the city, the distant drip of water, the occasional creak of wood, the whisper of wind through stone, all of it continues, but it has become part of the silence rather than separate from it. You walk slowly now, each step deliberate, not from effort, but from the natural slowing that comes when there is nowhere to arrive. The buildings here are dark, every window shuttered, every doorway closed. If there are people inside, they are so deeply asleep that they have ceased to be presences. They are simply bodies at rest, breathing so quietly that even the walls do not register their existence. Rome without people is just stone, not valueless, not meaningless, just stone. The structures remain exactly as they are, walls vertical, roofs overhead, columns supporting weight. But the meaning people bring to these structures, the names and purposes and significance, all of that has dissolved into sleep. You pass what might be a government building, or a temple, or a wealthy home. In darkness, with no one to declare its function, it is simply a building, larger than others, more ornate perhaps, though the details are lost in shadow. But fundamentally the same, stone-shaped to enclose space. The authority it might hold during the day does not exist now. Authority requires witnesses, requires people to acknowledge it, to defer to it, to organize their behavior around it. Without people, authority is just architecture. You place your hand on the building's wall, cold stone, solid. Indifferent, it does not know what it is meant to represent. It only knows how to stand, how to hold weight, how to resist gravity for another day. You continue walking. The streets here are wider, made for processions perhaps, for groups moving together with purpose, but now empty. The width is just absence, space not being used. The street does not care that it is empty. It was built to certain dimensions, and those dimensions persist, regardless of how many feet cross them. You think about empire, not as history, not as conquest or expansion or the rise and fall of power, just as a word, a concept, something people created and believed in and organized their lives around. But empire requires belief. It requires people waking each day and agreeing that certain symbols mean certain things, that certain positions hold certain powers, that certain structures represent something more than their physical form. When those people sleep, the symbols are just objects. The positions are just empty spaces. The structures are just stone. Empire sleeps every night. And every night, Rome returns to itself, not as the center of anything, not as the holder of meaning, but as a place. Stone and water and air, the physical reality that exists before and after the meanings people impose on it. You reach another plaza, smaller than the Forum. Statue stands in the center, a figure on horseback, frozen in bronze, one arm raised. You cannot see the details of the face, cannot read the inscription on the pedestal, cannot know who this person was or why they were immortalized. In daylight, the statue might command respect or recognition, or at least attention. Now it is simply a shape, metal formed into the suggestion of a human and an animal, both of them still, both of them silent. You walk past it without stopping. The statue does not notice. It has been not noticing things for longer than you can imagine. The moon is lower now, approaching the horizon. Its light comes at a more severe angle, creating longer shadows, illuminating less. The city is darkening incrementally, preparing for the deepest part of night, when even the moon offers little help. You pass a building covered in carved reliefs. You can feel them under your hand as you walk alongside the wall. Raised surfaces, recessed spaces, patterns that were meant to tell stories, or demonstrate wealth, or honor gods. But you cannot see what they depict. In darkness, they are just texture, rough and smooth, high and low, stone that is more and stone that is less. The stories they tell exist only when light reveals them. In darkness, there are no stories, just stone. You think about what remains, not what endures. Endurance implies struggle, implies survival against odds. What remains is simpler. It is what is still here, when everything that can be removed has been removed. People can be removed. Sleep removes them nightly. Purpose can be removed. Night removes it. Meaning can be removed. Absence of witnesses removes it. What remains is the physical, stone, water, air, space, the fundamental elements that were here before Rome was called Rome, and will be here after Rome is called something else or nothing at all. You are walking through the skeleton of empire, the bones of power, and the bones are just stone, carefully arranged, deliberately placed, but just stone. A fountain ahead. You approach it and find the basin dry. No water flows here anymore. The channels are blocked, or the source has been diverted, or the fountain has simply been abandoned. The basin holds only air now, and leaves, perhaps, blown in by wind and settled at the bottom, and dust. The fountain does not mourn the absence of water. It simply exists as a new state, dry instead of wet, silent instead of murmuring, still functional as a structure, just no longer functional as a fountain. You sit on the edge of the basin. The stone is very cold. You can feel it through your clothing, a chill that seeps into your muscles. You sit anyway. From here, you can see a long street stretching away, lined with buildings that are all dark, all silent, all empty of visible life. The street is straight, precisely laid out, engineered. Someone planned this. Someone decided this street should go here, should run in this direction, should be this wide. But the planner is gone. The decision remains only in the physical form of the street, and the street does not care why it exists. It simply exists. When power sleeps, places return to themselves. They stop being symbols, stop being statements, stop being anything except what they physically are. A building is shelter. A street is a path. A fountain is a carved basin. The rest is meaning that people bring and people can take away. You stand and continue walking. The street curves gently and you follow the curve. No destination, just movement. Just the continuation of presence through space. You pass more buildings, more doorways, more windows, all of them repeating, all of them variations on the same themes. Rome is vast, but it is also repetitive. The same elements recombined in slightly different arrangements. Stone, wood, space, light, shadow. Nothing is unique except in the meaning people assign to it, and meaning sleeps with people. The air is very still now. No breeze, no movement. Just air at rest, settled into the spaces between buildings, filling the streets without flowing through them. You breathe slowly, in, out. The air moves through you, and you move through the air, and neither of you changes the other. You reach the edge of the plaza and look back. The statue on horseback stands where it has always stood. The dry fountain holds its emptiness. The dark buildings line the dark street. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. All of it exactly as it was before you arrived. Your presence has changed nothing. You are passing through, like the air, like the water in channels, like time itself. Rome does not need you, does not notice you. Simply allows you to be here, moving through its spaces, witnessing its night. You turn away from the plaza and find another street, narrower, darker. You enter it without hesitation. The walls close in. The moon disappears behind buildings. You walk through darkness that is almost complete, guided by memory and touch, and the subtle echoes of your footsteps, telling you where the walls are. This is Rome at its most fundamental. Not visible, not legible, just present. Stone you cannot see but can feel. Space you cannot measure but can move through. Darkness that is not empty but full of structure, you must trust exists. You emerge eventually into a slightly wider street where the moon finds you again. Its light feels softer now, more tired. The moon has been crossing the sky for hours, and it is ready to set, ready to let the sun take over. But not yet. There are still hours before dawn. Hours when Rome will remain as it is now. Quiet, dark, absent of imposed meaning. Return to its essential self. Walk on. The streets continue. They will always continue. This is what Rome is. Not empire, not power, not history. Just stone shaped into streets, and streets offering passage, and passage continuing as long as there are feet to take it. The symbols sleep. The authority sleeps. The meaning sleeps, but the stone remains. The water flows. The air fills the spaces. And you walk through it, neither adding nor subtracting, just present in the city that exists beneath the city. The Rome that remains when Rome is allowed to rest. The streets are fading, not disappearing, not ending, just softening at their edges, becoming less distinct, as if the boundaries between stone and shadow are negotiable now, uncertain. You are still walking, but the walking has become something else, less physical, more like the memory of walking. Your feet still touch the ground, still press against stone, but the sensation is distant, filtered through layers of something you cannot name. The moon is very low, almost touching the horizon, or what would be the horizon if you could see it beyond the buildings. Its light is thin now, stretched across too much distance, barely reaching the streets where you walk. The darkness is patient. It has been waiting all night for this moment, when the moon finally weakens, when the last of the light begins to fail. Soon the darkness will have the city to itself, but not yet, not quite yet. You pass a lantern that has burned through the night. The flame is small now, barely visible, guttering. As you watch, it flickers once, twice, then extinguishes. The wick glows orange for a moment, then fades to nothing. One less light in Rome. The darkness accepts it without comment. Your pace is slowed to something barely distinguishable from stillness. Each step takes longer, not because you are tired, not because you are reluctant, just because time itself seems to be thickening, becoming viscous, resistant to movement. The streets curve away from you in all directions. You could follow any of them. They all lead somewhere. They all lead nowhere. The distinction has ceased to matter. You think about morning, but distantly, as if morning is a concept rather than something that will actually arrive. The sun rising, light returning, people waking, the city filling with purpose and noise and meaning again. But that is not now. Now is still night, deep night. The hour when even sleep deepens, when dreams drift furthest from waking, when the body surrenders most completely to rest. You are drifting with it, through Rome, through streets that have become indistinguishable from each other, through spaces that might be new or might be places you have already passed. The repetition does not concern you. A window above you is dark. Was it lit before? You cannot remember. It does not matter. The window is dark now, and that is all that is true. You turn down a street that feels familiar. Or perhaps all streets feel familiar now. The stone beneath your feet, the walls on either side, the narrow strip of sky above. These elements have repeated so many times that they have become the only elements that exist. There is nothing outside Rome, or if there is, it has faded beyond relevance. There are only these streets, this stone, this darkness that is almost complete. Your breathing has slowed, deep, steady, automatic. You are not controlling it. It is simply happening, the way water flows, the way stone stands, the way night continues. The city is dissolving at its edges. You can sense it though you cannot see it. The buildings are still there, solid and present, but their boundaries are softening, blurring into the darkness that surrounds them. You pass a doorway, another doorway, another. They are all the same doorway, or they are all different, and you cannot tell which, and do not need to. The moon has set. You did not see it happen. One moment there was moonlight, faint but present, and the next there is only darkness, complete, total, the kind of darkness that has weight, that presses against you gently from all sides. You keep walking, though you can see nothing now. Your feet find the stone. Your hands trail along walls. You move through the city by touch and memory and something deeper than both. There is no ending to this, no arrival, no conclusion, The streets will continue as long as you continue, and you will continue as long as the streets do. It is a loop without a seam, a circle without a starting point. Rome remains in the darkness. You remain in Rome. The night remains around both of you. Somewhere, water still flows. You cannot hear it anymore, but you know it is there, moving through channels carved in stone, patient and endless, continuing its journey whether anyone is there to witness it or not. Somewhere, stone still stands, holding weight, resisting gravity, existing. Somewhere, the city breathes with the breathing of 1,000 sleeping, in and out, rising and falling. The collective rhythm of rest. You are part of that rhythm now, your own breathing synchronized with it, your own movement slowed to match its pace. You are not separate from Rome. You are another element of its night, another presence moving through its spaces. The darkness is complete, but it is not empty. It is full of stone and air and the memory of light. It is full of structures we cannot see but know are there. It is full of the city continuing, unchanged by the absence of visibility. You walk, and the walking is everything and nothing. It is movement without destination, presence without purpose, continuation without end. The streets curve, and you curve with them. The streets narrow, and you narrow with them. The streets fade into darkness, and you fade with them, but you do not disappear. You remain, as the stone remains, as the water remains, as Rome itself remains, present, quiet, unhurried. There is no need to arrive anywhere, no need to find your way, no need to understand where you are or where you are going. You are simply here, in the darkness, in the stone, in the endless, patient night of a city that has seen thousands of nights before this one, and will see thousands more after. The walking continues, soft, slow, almost imperceptible. One step, and then another, and then another. The streets hold you, the darkness holds you, Rome holds you, and the night continues, softly, endlessless, without conclusion, the city breathing. You breathing, the stone standing, the water flowing, all of it together, all of it one. The night, Rome, continuing, always, quietly,